I would say that logic, objectiveness, call it reasoning, call it whatever you want, there is finally always one truth.
Right. Here's the Bible. You're a Muslim.
The question should be that we need to ask ourselves, how would I know that this is truth? And this I'm asking it for you, for myself, for you, for everyone. Okay? From your perspective, reasoning should not be the criteria. Why? Because you think that even if 1 + 1 = 2, this might be biased because I'm a Muslim or not.
No.
I don't agree with that.
No, that epistemology is foundationalist epistemology, right? There are weaknesses with that epistemology. When you say 1 + 1, right, it implies causation. It implies that there's one effect to another effect, right? That's an assumption, right? Because you're assuming reality. So foundationalism has weaknesses. There was a famous philosopher by David Hume who took that position, and then he realized it doesn't work, because when I look down at the structures of nature, when I see a reaction, there's deeper things going on in that reaction that I can't see. And in quantum physics, we see that it's not 1 + 1. There's actually things that we can't see in reaction. So foundationalism it has weaknesses, you see. Presupposition. No, listen to me. You're not listening. Presuppositionalism says you have to have a worldview to understand reality, right? So when I use 1 + 1, my presupposition is God, the Trinity, right? And that's my presupposition. And let me finish. Let me finish.
No, because you thought that 1 + 1 was like I was preparing for the 1 + 1.
Let me explain. I'm explaining. Why won't you let me explain the epistemology?
Because I want to stay on the point that 10 + 10 = 20. Even a kid knows it. So there is a reality here.
Yeah, but you're still
no.
It's not completely objective.
Why?
Because
don't call it objective. Call it otherwise.
Let me explain to you why. Right? I've tried to explain to you. Right? In the theory of knowledge, the epistemology. Right?
It's a theory, okay.
Right? When an atheist uses 1 + 1 and uses logic, the law of non-contradiction, an atheist, right, who says he's objective, he has to borrow from the Christian worldview to use logic. Logic's immaterial. Listen, logic's immaterial. The atheist is a materialist mainly, most of them. So when they're using logic, right, they're borrowing from the Christian worldview. So even when you're using 1 + 1 as an atheist, listen, you've got to borrow from my worldview because you're using logic, which is immaterial. You need my worldview. So it's not objective in the sense that the atheist can't say, I'm objective using reason. No, you can't even use reason without accepting my worldview. Now, as a Muslim, when you're saying you're using logic, you're not just using logic. The Quran is your foundation. And listen. Every time you read the Bible, you are not just using logic. You are using circular reasoning. The Bible's not true because the Quran says so. That's circular reasoning, right? You're not using logic. You're picking bits of the Bible that says, I don't agree with the Trinity. That's what he would have said. I don't agree with the Trinity. It's not logical. No, you don't agree with the Trinity, not because it's not logical. It's because you're picking verses that you like from the Bible, leaving verses that you don't like, because the Quran says Allah has no son, he has no partners. So your logic is biased. Do you see what I'm saying, brother? It's not a case of 1 + 1.
I can see.
Do you see what I'm getting at? And why I'm getting excited? Listen.
I will repeat for you.
Let me finish. Why I get excited? Why I'm getting excited and got excited with him is because what I'm saying is fair, and he wouldn't even let me explain it, and he wouldn't explain it back to me.
Again.
Now you can explain it.
What you are saying.
Is that correct or not?
So.
Is it correct or not?
So, what you are saying is that I will go and pick up verses from the Quran that will come and contradict the Bible.
Yeah.
And I'm using this as a reason.
Yeah, not your logic.
Right?
Yeah.
This is what you are saying.
Yeah, okay. But the Muslim will try to pretend to be logical.
Wait. I let you speak.
All right, go on, brother.
So, assuming that there is a revelation.
Yeah.
And God is revealing to me what is wrong in Christianity, in Judaism, and assuming that Quran is the right last revelation.
Right.
Okay?
You're assuming.
I'm assuming.
Right, okay.
Right? Wouldn't, with this assumption, natural to have signs versus indications, what is not good, what is not true in the other revelations? It would be, right? It would be.
Right.
I mean,
if you're assuming.
I'm assuming.
Right.
Okay, so it is natural to have or to find contradiction under this assumption, right? So again, the question will always persist is, how would I know that this revelation is the true one or not?
Because we take your revelation, we take your worldview. I've got logic, you've got logic.
Forget about the logic.
No, listen.
No, we said we need to forget about the logic, because the logic itself is saying
let me finish.
that if there is any contradiction,
Let me finish.
it should be shown in the Quran.
Let me finish.
Right?
So now, you've got your worldview, I've got my worldview.
Yeah.
Now we can compare them and see whether they are internally consistent, first of all.
Okay.
Right?
In a lot of...
So I look at the Quran,
yeah.
and the Quran says, read the Torah, read the Injeel.
Yes.
Right? It says, if you want to know if Muhammad is true, go to the people of the book. Right? So now wait a minute.
No, it's nothing like
It does say that.
No.
It does say that.
أهل الذكر, they do not say أهل الكتاب. أهل الذكر, the one who knows.
Right, here. Right, here. Surah 3:48, Surah 6:12, Surah 3:49:50, Surah 19:12, Surah 5:113-14, Surah 3:52-53, Surah 34:31, Surah 35:31, Surah 10:37. All these verses, Surah 69:20, Surah 46:12, Surah 29:30, Surah 2:91, Surah 3:3, Surah 4:112, Surah 53:33-38, Surah 26:192. That's only a small portion. Those surahs say Jesus has the Torah. Jesus teaches the Torah and the Injeel. Those verses say there were true Christians in the time of Muhammad. Those surahs.
So what?
Those surahs.
So what?
Wait. Those surahs say.
No, so what?
Wait a minute. Those surahs, Torah and the Gospel say.
I know that
Let me finish.
Where it's written.
The Quran, the Bible, the Torah and the Gospel's not changed. Those surahs say anybody who questions Muhammad, go to the Torah and the Injeel. These are all the verses. So now, I take your worldview, I have my worldview. You have your worldview, I have my worldview. I go to your worldview, I see if there's any internal contradiction. I see an internal contradiction here. It's telling me to read the... Wait a minute. Let me finish.
I don't want to go into details because I always want to know the...
Right, I'm trying to...
Which is what would be the criteria, and from your perspective...
I've just told you the criteria.
Exactly. The criteria
I go into your worldview...
You need to look in each revelation
and look for internal critique
and see whether it's coherent by itself, right? And in addition to that, you can go and see if there is any historical facts that can prove that, right?
No, but there's something else. In order for us to engage, right, you've got to be willing to look at my worldview and see my worldview from my worldview to see if it contradicts. And then you've got to be willing for you to go into your worldview and see whether what I'm saying, if there is internal contradiction. And this discussion with him, you're friendly and open. In order for it to be fruitful discussion, there has to be a willingness to be open to see which worldview is consistent, right?
And I think this is what he wanted to do.
No, he wasn't doing that at all. He was dishonest.
Jason.
He was dishonest.
It was nice to meet you.
He was completely dishonest. Anyone who knows epistemology knows he was dishonest. Every Muslim looks at the Bible with the Quran. No objectivity, JC.
So wrap up on that conversation. What happened there on that conversation?
So he's trying to sort of back up this guy, right? Okay. You can't just come to the Bible as a Muslim with objective reasoning. You've got a worldview. So when you say you're coming with objective reason, no, you've got a worldview. And we need to look at that worldview and see if it's consistent. And you can see my worldview, see if it's consistent. In the Quran, it says Allah has hands and feet. It says that Allah is nothing like his creation. There's an inconsistency within that revelation. It's not a revelation, right? It says the Quran is eternal. There's an inconsistency there. Allah is one, but yet there's an eternal Quran, which means you've got two gods. So, if he wants to use logic, let's use logic with our worldviews. I look at his worldview and there's contradictions. So he can look at my worldview and try and find contradictions, but he's got to be willing to let me look at his worldview. And then when we look at his worldview, the Quran says read the Bible's not been corrupted, and yet Muslims said the Bible's been corrupted, so there's another contradiction in their worldview. So you're not just coming objectively, you're looking at evidence from your worldview, and you've got to be willing to engage by saying, I'll let you come to my worldview as well. He just wanted to come to the Bible and say we're objective in our logic and then have a field day in criticizing the Bible, and I wouldn't let him. And when I asked him, is he a Muslim, he ran away. And this chap was struggling. He was trying to find a way to get back to this guy, but in the end, he's a Muslim and he will look at the evidence as a Muslim. And that's the point. And they don't want to accept it. They want to say they're objective. They're not objective. It's not true.